Hello, music makers. Welcome back. So, melody. Everyone struggles with it, and that's because of a classic paradox. Catchy versus complicated. Eventually, everyone learns repetition is a good thing, especially in dance music. It helps with memorability, catchiness. However, on the other side of the coin, if it's too repetitive, it gets boring. So, we find ourselves in the eternal struggle of trying to keep it catchy, yet interesting. Today, I've got one simple concept to show you which can help you do a bit of both. Let's go. Now, before we move on, I'd just like to clear up something about the term melody. That word has been confused quite a bit recently, mainly in the beat-making space, but it's spread elsewhere too. Take this beat, for example. If we remove the drums and bass, and imagine that the rest of this whole thing was offered as a sample. I've seen that kind of thing called and labelled a melody, but it's not. What that is a melody on top of some chords. This bit is the melody. A melody is typically one note at once, what we call monophonic. Basically what the human voice is capable of. Because as soon as it's not one note, it becomes a type of chord, not a melody. So to be clear, when I say melody, I mean that top bit, the bit you would probably hum to someone. So today's concept is something all DJs aspire to do. It's taking your listeners on a journey. One of my favourite tracks to demonstrate this is called Rave by Ame. Now, by all accounts, this track should be far too complicated to be popular. The melody has this really trippy timing, and it never really seems to repeat a phrase. Yet, against all odds, this track is a cult classic, and I think it's this melodic technique I'm about to show you which has helped it stand the test of time. So, what is it? Well, the boring classical name for this technique is called implied harmony, but I'm going to call it ghost chords. Sounds a bit less daunting, right? Now, you'll be happy to hear we don't need a really complicated rhythm like the one in Rej. This technique works with any rhythm we choose. And even better, we don't need a fancy bass line either. Look at this one. It's what we call on the one. It's just playing note 1 of the key. Rej is in C sharp, and you can see that's C sharp there. There's a little turnaround at the end, but that's not important. The bass can just be on one note if we want. So let me show you a simple example. While I've got this recreation of Rej here, let's use that. And to make it super simple, I'm going to change the key. So we don't have to learn the C sharp minor scale. Instead, I'm going to use A. A minor is the easiest because we don't have to learn the scale. It's just all the white notes. So here's all the other parts of Rej in A. Now, let's make a simple melody. A good place to start is just using the notes of the chord. And if you didn't know, a chord is made up of just 3 notes with a space in between, like that. So let's make a melody out of these 3. Just pick some semi-random positions on the grid. A 1-bar or half-bar loop is all we need. Something like that will do. Now, here's how this whole concept of ghost chords works. Our little melody here was based around chord 1. The 3 notes that made up our chord started on note 1, so that means that's chord 1. Now, here's what happens. Regardless of what note our melody starts on, or regardless of what order the notes are in the listener's mind, they are getting the impression, the suggestion of chord 1, the ghost of chord 1, if you will, even though we haven't played the simultaneous notes of an actual chord. Seems obvious enough, doesn't it? After all we have done is just spread out the notes of the chord over time. In fact, there are already people typing in the comments that what I have done there is made an ARP, not a true melody. But the concept I want to get across to you is that most melodies imply some kind of chord. See here, even if I change some of the notes or add some which aren't from the chord, we call these passing notes, the foundation of that melody is still essentially chord 1. The ghost of chord 1 is still there. here's how we can create that journey. We're going to keep our main hook, our main rhythm, and our main melody direction. But in the background, the ghost chord is going to change. Let me show you a simple example. Let's pick just one extra chord. We'll keep this chord 1, and then let's pick, say, chord 4. So let's just see what those notes are. Let's build a chord on note 4. That gives us the notes D, F, and A. Let's just have 2 bars of that. Let's swap that A to the lower one. The octave doesn't matter, and this will be easier. And then 2 bars of chord 1. That's A, C, and E. Now all we have to do is move some notes of our melody to the nearest ones from that chord. First, let's repeat this melody so it becomes 4 bars long, same as our ghost chord progression here. Now I'm going to mute the chord track. We don't actually need to hear it, but I'm going to select both the chords and the melody so I can see them at the same time. Now I'm just going to shift a few of the notes of our melody to the nearest ones from that chord. Something like that seems to make sense. And we can leave those last 2 bars as is because we know they work on chord 1. So here is our new melody. Same rhythm, same direction, but now it has a movement journey as a result of the subtle changes from its different supporting ghost chords. Now remember, the bass hasn't changed. It's still on the 1. All of the movement is solely from the melody. Okay, let's do another example. Different track. I've got this tech house kind of thing here. I was going for something in between Max Styler and Jamback. Just wanted to show you another example where the bass doesn't move, but just note you should be able to apply this technique to any melody. Anyway, if we look at the melody I've got here, it's only using 2 notes of the chord, the 1 and the 3. And we have a note 2 as a passing note. Nice and simple. Let's pick some ghost chords. Let's try a 1, 4, 7. Let's draw those out on this track. Again, this track is muted. We're not going to hear it. It's just so we can trace over it. Or for those that don't have software which lets you look at both parts like this, you can at least see what notes are in each chord. There we go. That's a 1, 4, 7. Again, I'm going to swap that A octave, keep everything nearby. Okay, let's do the melody. I'm going to double the length. That makes it 4 bars long, like the chord progression. And here we go. Good stuff. Well, that's the principle in action. What do you think? Now, before I leave you, I'm sure some of you are wondering, what are the ghost chords in Rej? I told you it uses this technique, but I didn't actually show you the chords. Here's what I got. Well, before I do, this is a good opportunity to say this is down to a little bit of interpretation. I'm not saying this is how the melody was written, by the way. There are great melody writers out there which don't write from a chord's perspective at all. This is just one approach you might find easier if you've been struggling. Anyway, what we have here, this should sound familiar, is a 1, 4, 7, 6. I basically ripped it off for the last example there. Let me show you that with the chord track audible so you can hear the movements. There we go. So it's 1, 4, 7, 6, except instead of A minor, this is C sharp harmonic minor. If you don't know what the difference is between normal minor and harmonic minor, I suggest watching this video, the garage chord trick. Obviously, it's not just a garage trick, that's just a reality of making YouTube videos. Genres get clicks. Anyway, go check out that video, it's all useful. Okie dokie. Well, I hope you learned something. If you did, please show your appreciation with the appropriate YouTube buttons, or if you're feeling extra appreciative, there's a link in the description to buy me a coffee. And until next week, I will see you down there in the comments. Bye-bye.